Hey, Irina, how are you?
Good, good. How's it going? Yes,
Good.
good.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to me. So let's talk about Revived Soldiers Ukraine. Tell me how
Yes.
that got started.
So Revived Soldiers Ukraine was established in 2015, and the main goal was to help severely wounded Ukrainian servicemen to get medical treatment here in the United States of America. As of 2014, we knew how war was brutal, and so many Ukrainian servicemen left behind without proper medical care. So our team started to reach out to the hospitals and medical facilities to help out our soldiers here in the United States on pro bono basis. So ask medical facilities to accept complicated cases on for no cost, practically. So that's what we've been doing for 8 years now. We're still asking Americans to accept our servicemen on pro bono or for very minimal cost. It depends on the injury, of course. And also we help soldiers to receive prosthetic legs and arms. It's a mild electric like slash bionic legs and arms that we raise money for, and actually we're paying for it.
How did you get involved in this?
Well, that was that was a difficult time for Ukraine in right after revolution in 2014, and with the first casualties that Ukraine suffer, um, we start to get all these images of tear of bodies, and I just couldn't stay behind since the Maidan, the people who suffer on Maidan with the injuries, and it was slowly went to the war in the east of Ukraine. So it's hard for me to say how I got involved. I just thought that's the right thing to do at the moment, and it still is because we're still in the war 8 years later, nine almost. So it's I don't know. I don't have exact answer for that.
Well, are you doing this full time now?
Well, I was always been doing it full time. I was a home. I was a housewife. So I was been always doing it as a housewife, and it was very difficult to, for example, to meet people. Some soldiers I never met in my life, even though we were helping them for like a year at the time. Yeah, so we've been bringing them over, and I never had the time to actually fly and meet these people. And so that was all like kind of distance working. Yeah, so but it is a full-time job. If somebody's flying at night and for example, and airlines wouldn't get the soldier on the flight, I had to go on the phone at 1 in the morning or so and get it straight up and have the person to get on the flight. It's just very difficult to deal with the injured people. It's a lot of accommodation need to be done. It's not just like a regular person that can take a backpack and walk.
Yeah,
It's a person who doesn't have legs, arms.
a lot of
Uh,
logistical stuff you got to take
exactly.
care of.
Yes. Yes. There's a lot of going on. Yes. Yes.
So
So that yes, it is full-time job.
how did the soldiers find you when you were starting this, 8 years ago? How did you get started?
I
Tell me
was I
that story.
was I was finding them. I was finding soldiers. We would reach out here for medical facilities, and they would say like, "Hey, that's the doctors or specialty we are in." So we would go and find soldiers in Ukraine with such injuries. Sometimes I would talk to the doctors in usually Kiev Army Hospital because they received the most complicated cases, and because our medical system was not super great at the time. Ukraine never fought a war, so our doctors would never treat wounded soldiers from a war injuries. So the best facility was at the time was the Kiev Army Hospital, and we worked with the Kiev Army Hospital doctors. So we would ask, for example, if somebody would if they need somebody who like practically have a zero chance to survive in Ukraine, and
Yeah.
they would provide us with such cases,
So
and we would transport those guys,
you
work with
bring
you.
them to the States too, right? Like
Yes,
Roman, for
work
example.
with them.
Let me share my screen here. You know this guy, right?
Of course I do. He live in my home. Roman Hradensky. So he is a very young man, and he reached out to us, to our nonprofit in Ukraine, because throughout this all years of work, we got sort of image of a nonprofit that helps wounded soldiers with complicated injuries,
Yeah.
and soldiers in Ukraine reaching out directly to us. So we got him through him being in war prisoner, first of all, and knowing a director of our nonprofit in Ukraine, Tatiana Hrubenyuk. So Tatiana actually asked me to assist Roman, and we did. We brought him to United States in September of 2022.
And you do the visa stuff too, right?
Everything, yes. It's everything. It's logistics. Is working with the Ministry of Health in Ukraine to get those guys out of Ukraine, because none of the males can leave the country as of 18 through like 65, I think.
Yeah.
So they have to have a special permission to leave the Ukrainian territory. And
then Roman's back in Ukraine, right? I think he's married now.
he's 20 years old and he got married. That's right. He received a prosthetic arm from us in Philadelphia. It cost us about $35,000, and he received 2 legs, running and walking leg, in Orlando, Florida. That's when he was stayed with me. Yeah, we were happy to, to help him.
35 grand, all from just donor support, right?
Yeah, we look for donors and supporters throughout the country, is Americans and Ukrainian Americans mostly. And people are being very, very accommodating, I would say, and willing to help. I hope it will continue. Not sure how long, but we will try to assist as many soldiers as we can. And we have right now Denis Kuznetsov. He is also war prisoner from Mariupol.
Yeah.
He's a border guard patrol. So Roman served as a Marine, 36 Brigade, and Denis is a border patrol. He got injured in Mariupol as well, and he got captive, and he was at the Donetsk Army Hospital. Donetsk Hospital.
Yeah, I mean, you've helped a lot of people. Here's Andrei.
Andrei, yes, it's a sweetheart. Andrei served in the 80th Brigade, and some of his relatives reached out to us. Andrei lost both legs, as you see, above the knee, and he lost vision on one eye completely. Actually, US doctors pull out a big piece of rubber of his eye.
Yeah, didn't he have the rubber in his eye for months without knowing about it?
Yes, it's yeah. So
And that was in his good eye.
No, that was in
It was in his bad eye. Okay.
yes. And doctors in Chicago went in, and they thought it's a piece of bone. They tried to get out, but they ended up pulling out a piece of rubber. It's pretty big too. So that's what happened to him while the explosion. He got exploded on the mine, anti-tank mine, and the piece of rubber got into his eye. That's how he lost his eye.
These are soldiers that probably couldn't get the level of care and the prosthetics and be able to go back to Ukraine to their families without your help, right?
Yeah, well, the soldiers kept looking for different ways to get assistance, and a lot of them waiting for prosthetics. For example, we have about 500 soldiers right now waiting for the arm prosthetics. So right now we're getting
Say that number again.
500.
500.
About 500 soldiers that waiting to get an arm prosthetic.
Here's Vladislav. He's got the best last name, Zhaivoronok, if you speak Ukrainian.
Yeah, hold on.
And
Hold on,
here's Alexander, also with leg prosthetics.
Yeah, I cannot see anybody. Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, yes.
On my screen, here's Alexander.
Yeah, Alexander. Yes, Alexander served in the Karpat Sich. It's a voluntary platoon, and he's from Rivne. He lost both legs, as you see, below the knee. So Revived Soldiers Ukraine could provide him with 6 legs, 2 running, 2 CrossFit, and 2 walking legs. He's a very young man and very active, so we would like to, him to be limitless.
I know some of
We
these
don't want
gentlemen,
his
including
in
Vladislav,
what?
have started to do their own activism. Um, how
Yeah,
many?
yeah,
Do you know how many soldiers from Ukraine you've helped? I mean, you've been doing this for 8 years. Obviously,
yeah.
you got more busy a year ago.
That's right. So we could manage to bring 66 Ukrainian wounded soldiers to United States throughout all this 8 years of work. And we've been talking about injuries that, some of the soldiers staying here for a year or 2 years. So it's not just like in and out situation. If we bring severely a wounded person to United States with a war injury, it's a war injury. It's usually infection and all these complications that they have after the injury with the poor care of Ukrainian doctors. And we cannot blame Ukrainian doctors. There's a lot of going on and a lot of injuries, coming in. So, as Andrei had his, rubber piece of, I would say I think it was like a wheel of a car piece. And, we can blame the doctors because they tried to save one part of the body and, they probably didn't see the second one. And it's just like in and out
Yeah.
process. So yeah, so it's very complicated cases, and it take a lot of time and effort of volunteers of our charity to help those guys here in the
And
US.
then money goes to Ukraine too, right? To help hospitals
We
and
do,
soldiers there.
yes. In 2022, we did assist a lot of hospitals with the equipment, medical equipment. We would buy X-rays and ultrasound machines for several major hospitals. Also, we would assist frontline medics. We got a lot of ambulances. I think like 50 something cars, ambulances, and 50 cars for like just platoons, pickup trucks, and four-wheel drivers. And we got a lot of like first aid kits. I think everybody did that, like tourniquets, first aid kits, a blood cloth material, and generators, drones, radio stations. I think our team put about 4.5 million into the helping Ukrainian army with this non-military stuff, like more like secondary but important things. And also I think like about 2 million we put into medical stuff, as well as our rehabilitation center Next Step Ukraine in Lviv, which is west of Ukraine. We're opening a second rehab right now. Irpin did survive. We had one in Irpin, and we did survive. But it's small, so we're doing like twice bigger in Lviv, and we will put more advanced equipment in Lviv because it has space for it. So it's a lot of projects going on, and we try to assist as many soldiers and civilians, actually, whoever got injured within this brutal war. We try to assist as many in Ukraine, and also like those complicated ones we are trying to bring over to us.
So how do ordinary people help?
Well, it's in several ways actually. We do look for volunteers on a spot, because we have to place soldiers somewhere, right? We have to drive them to the doctors. It's usually we do need help with the Ukrainian Americans who know the language to translate. And well, there's also like volunteering in our charity events, because we try to do a lot of charity events throughout the country to raise the money. And also, obviously, the easiest way, I would say, not the easiest, it's not the right way to say, but a fastest way to help is to donate, so we can cover those prosthetics and can manage with other people to do the logistics with the passports, visas, travel from Ukraine, travel to US, housing, food, transfer, and everything else here, while those guys here in the US.
What's the website? How do people find you?
So the website is www.rsukraine.org,
Oh,
and
okay.
it's
So we
very
got
easy
we
to.
got
It's a
some,
big
sorry, we
button
got
to
some
donate.
technical difficulties right when you were saying that. Say that again.
So it's www.rsukraine.org. And it's very easy.
www.r revived S soldiers Ukraine,
Ukraine.
rsukraine.org,
org.
O-R-G.
Yeah.
rsukraine.org. If somebody wants to find your website to donate. So they can donate, they can sign up to help with fundraisers, sign up to translate if you're Ukrainian American,
right,
and you speak both languages. Sign up for logistics. I'm sure you've got, doctors, professionals, lawyers, other types of people helping out too, right?
Yes, and we need those too a lot.
So what's next, Irina? Where are you headed to? What are you up to?
Actually, I'm going to back to Orlando, Florida. We're in Philadelphia right now to do some of the work with the wounded soldiers and try to negotiate with Penn Medicine on our soldiers for pro bono.
Sorry, I lost you there for a second. I think the last thing I heard was you're headed from Philadelphia back to Orlando.
Philadelphia, yes. We've been arranging a medical for Ukrainian wounded soldiers at Penn Medicine.
All right. Well, hey, I know you're busy. I appreciate that you
Yeah,
took
I gotta
some time
run.
out.
I literally have to run
I
now.
appreciate you took some time out to talk to me.
Thank you
Remember,
so much.
Revived Soldiers Ukraine, rsukraine.org. If you want to get involved. Irina, thanks again for coming on Ukraine Watch. Take care.
We will win. Ukraine will win.
Absolutely. Slava Ukraini.
Thank you. Thank you for your support, guys. Bye.